carry on, yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
was the Olympic.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, what was it, town?
When you try and go there, first of all, I mean, New Zealand, if you haven't been there, the North Island is largely all farming. The South Island is largely all rocks. And you drive, it's like driving through the Midwest, only with slightly better climate. And not so many people with chainsaws. Because these are Kiwis we're talking about. So they might give you a drink of milk. And so we came to a place called Matter. We tried to find out what it meant, but it didn't matter. And so Rob and I climbed out of the car. Both climbed out of the car.
And without referring to each other in any way, we just had a glance around. There was no interaction at all. We walked up to each other and we went bum, 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 bum.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a drink.
We'll sort it out.
I mean, it had Joe's Pies. There was a barber shop with the barbers, as it were, in the windows.
Doing three-part harmonies.
They weren't doing that because, in fact,
We're ladies, anyway.
I went and had a lovely haircut in there. I went to the milk, Joe's Milk Bar. Yeah.
And I said, well, I'm having my haircut. Could you nip out and get me a pair of scissors? There was a scissor shop. There was a shop just selling Sam scissors. It was nice. I want a pair of scissors. And it's like, oh. They had an AK-47 of scissors in
there are readers here of science fiction. There was back in the 40s, I think I only read reprints, there was a series of fantasy, it was called Unknown, wasn't it? Or was it Unknown Worlds? It was definitely a fantasy series. Some of the best fantasies were in there. Early Foppers in the Greenhouse. Anyhow, it was, all right, let's get closer to home. It was Ray Bradbury. Okay, it was that. It was down the home, as you remember it, but not probably as it was.
It was Hill Valley.
It was Hill Valley. It was.
Marty McFly. It was all there. It warmed up.
And you knew it was going to be the place to raise your kids. Mind you, they'd hate you. They would become goth. And they would go to somewhere exotic, like Australia. But when they came back and had all the tattoos removed, and the rings taken out of their noses, and wanted to get married, they'd go back to a nice place to raise their kids. It just so, that was weird as a hobby. Because there was a little old lady going very slowly across the road in the car, and just waiting quite cheerfully for her to do it.
It was absolutely fabulous. And because we spent so much time in Hobbiton, of course I didn't want to leave. We had to race back to get to the town hall in time, and the journey back. We always said that we were driven down by Jeremy Clarkson and back by the street.
We do apologise.
But that was great. But Matter has been knocked down to number 2 because of what we did last night.
Yeah, we went to Hum Tulips.
Oh, Hum Tulips was... I was in... Hum Tulips is now down to number 4. You better explain Hum Tulips now.
Okay. I hear you say, why do you want to go to Hum Tulips? Because they're there. It's on the Puget Sound. It's sort of vaguely opposite Seattle. It occupies, in my mind, the same space as Benson, Arizona, and Paris, Texas. Just some weird place that you've seen on a map and really want to go and see what's there. I'm going to do a little sideways on this, by the way, but you might expect. I remember the first time I drove into Benson, Arizona. It wasn't a one-horse town, because it wasn't a horse. And I went to it because of a movie called Dark Star. And it was actually done really as a trainee piece, I think, by Dan O'Bannon, who actually went on to do Alien, something you might have never heard of. And I arrived there to find myself in a pickup truck, because if you're going to drive in America, drive like Americans do. And there was really nobody around. And I wandered about. And there was a tin tabernacle, as we call them. And it turned out to be a library and museum for Benson. A place at that time about the size of the land I own in England. And in there were women that looked like ladies who lunch. And they were lunching. And they were the ladies that ran me. And the things in there were old-timey stuff that your great-grandmother would have. And they were so pleased that I'd come all the way from England. And because I'm British, and because of the circumstances, my normal accent suddenly moved further towards Her Majesty. You know, but they obviously thought that they were dealing with the Duke of Devonshire. That's the only person that would ever come to somewhere like Benson, Arizona. And they said, and I was looking through everything they've got, and it was on the whole old stuff, not really antiques yet, or probably would be by now. Except for one thing, I turned over a page on this manuscript in the corner, and it said, Clancy Brothers went by 5 o'clock. And I turned over the pages, and it was the record of the stage that went through Benson. And it would be on the way. It would have been Dodge. It would have been Dodge City in those days, where the stage would have ended up. And it was all there. The common was ongoing. Of the men who fought the OK Corral. When they arrived, when they went back, the police would have had a lovely night. And they treated it as if it was amazing. It was just, I mean, there's no great revelation about this. It was just sitting there, turning over these pages and seeing these faces.
Tulips then.
Yeah, but there's a grocery store. And there was the road back.
The road back was brilliant. The grocery store, that just we were about to leave, so we jumped in the car. The lady, the owner of the grocery store, asked me to come back in the shop. And at that point I knew, when this is written down, this is where I get horribly murdered. Thankfully I didn't, which was a definite bonus. I'm going to jump straight to number 1. And really, it's only a brief thing to say, but it is definitely rates at probably one of our top leagues this year. For a brief moment last night, we occupied Wall Street.
I've never been to Wall Street. I never have, you know, other places. And I was surprised. I thought there were a lot of rich bankers around, but they all looked quite poor people. Obviously, they are not doing very well. Give them more money. sure you won't mind.
Oh, it's very good.
Some of them were living in tents.
It's a very nice thing. So very nice thing. But we went down there and there was a library and Terry was recognised instantly.
It's not my books in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was just a lovely moment and it warmed my little heart. Because I've never been brave enough to do anything like that. Because I don't want to get beaten up by policemen. But it was really very good. I'm going to look at Emily at this point. Are we taking questions and answers? Oh,